Now, an 18-year-old girls prefect of Ewutu Awin Senior High School is challenging the concept of leadership as pertains in schools in the country at the moment. Hannah Ajimai says instead of electing a girls prefect who is subservient to the boys prefect, there must be one gender-neutral prefect, which position will be contested for by both sexes. She explains the current arrangement indoctrinates young girls to be inferior at a very young age and shapes their thinking through life into adulthood. Hannah came through the JoyNews studios early today.
I'm a girls prefect of my school, and we have the boys prefect who automatically become the senior prefect or the school prefect and automatically the chairman of the SRC. And when it happens that way, it makes us feel inferior unconsciously. For instance, the boys prefect or the school prefect can walk straight to the headmaster's office, go and say something, and it would be taken seriously by, say, me, if I enter the headmaster's office, he will even tell me that go and come back. Okay, so when it happens that way, it creates that environment that we are always staying aback, and then guys are always automatically, we allow them to take the lead, and then it follow us through our lives to the extent that when we get to the workplace, we encourage men to go for the sensitive positions while we stay back.
So they vote for their positions for boys prefect and girls prefect.
Girls prefect. But automatically the boys prefect becomes the school overall school prefect and the chairman of the SRC.
And you don't want that?
I don't want it.
How do you want it to be done?
A portfolio should be created for school prefects, regardless of your gender. So if I'm a female and I contest for the school prefect and I win, automatically I becomes the school prefect, not the girls prefect. If a boy also wins, fine, he's the school prefect. So they shouldn't create girls prefect who is in charge of girls and boys prefect who is in charge of the whole school.
If, for instance, you were to contest with another boy for the position of school prefect, do you think that the boys are going to vote for you to become the school prefect?
Obviously not, except few who thinks that you can do the work, because the society has created that code that there's no way a guy will vote for me. If he would, maybe for personal reasons. And then girls too. You know, girls, we have that attitude when our fellow ladies are trying to climb higher, we tend to bring them down. And now we have even created a special name for this scenario. We call them PhD, pull her down. So you see, until we erase that notion from our minds that we can't go higher, girls, you are inferior, sit back. I think that this gender equality thing, we will talk and talk and talk about it, but still we wouldn't make any headway.
But then talking about the elections in the school, and you talking about admitting the fact that the boys are not likely to vote for you, and even the girls are not likely to vote for you. So isn't that where the problem is? So not so much about what the school has done in the past.
No, it is something that has been there from the scratch. So it's socialization. We came to meet it and we are trying to follow the trend. Okay, if I should contest with a boy, we all make the campaign. If I win, fine. If a guy win, fine. I don't think that is because of the population or personal issues.
How do you think this is going to change the gender conversation?
Okay, so I think that when this is able to be achieved, it will go a long way to balance the whole equation. Excuse me, let me use this term. You see, when we go for programs, the boys prefect, who automatically is a school prefect, are allowed to read keynote address, speeches, and all those things. But what about a girls prefect? We are allowed to read votes of thanks, 3 seconds votes of thanks, and this psychologically affects us, and it makes us feel that naturally the guys are superior over us. So when it happens that way, we go through the educational system. I'm sure it's the same that is happening in the tertiary institutions. We get there and we allow the boys to make the headway, and we sit back. In all aspects of our life, social, political, in all aspects of our life, this thing unconsciously, we don't know that that is what is causing. But from the scratch, it is creating that, it's shaping our mind that way. So it goes a long way, yes, it goes a long way to affect us. So we sit back and we fear to take up a higher position because the males are the dominant group and they will intimidate us and all those things. But if I'm able to take that position, rise from basic school, from SHS, and I get to the top, it wouldn't be difficult for me to take higher positions.
Very interesting perspectives being shared there by Hannah. Quite a number of us can relate. What do you make of what she's been talking about? You can hit us on our Facebook page and let your voice be heard.